Hello friend, how is it going? Welcome back to Auto Resource YouTube channel. Here you are looking with me on my Specialized Rockhopper Expert 29, which I reviewed on this channel when I bought it, and it has a lot of views. So I got inspired by that, continue this video series. It served me flawlessly so far. I'm really enjoying ownership, but as you can see, it's missing rear wheel. And that's because I finally got a flat tire. So in this video, let's go to see together how easy it is to repair it. Basically what happened, I came back to the bike to go riding, and the rear tire was completely flat, and it was on the ground. So I looked if I have any nails or thorns in the tire, but I couldn't find any. So I put my 29 or 30 psi, that's what I'm running, 29, 30 psi, put it in, went for a ride, it was fine. But when I came back, I parked it here, and the next day when I checked it, it was flat again. So this will be some kind of slow leak on this, and let's go and find out how this can be fixed. Now we have to mention that on your bikes you can have two types of the tires. You can have the ones with the tubes inside, and this is the cheapest line of Specialized, so you can bet there is a tube in this 29-incher. So we will be talking about the repairing the leak on the tube tire with the tube inside. If you have a tube less, if you have an expensive bike, it will be completely different. And you start basically when it's flat like this, you need to remove that tire and the tube which is inside from the rim. Sometimes on these modern tires you might not even need any tools. So I will make sure first that I separate the tire from the rim, because there's a possibility it was sticking to the rim. So you go around all the way to separate them. In general, on this modern bike gear, it's easy to work. So let's see, I'm opposite from the valve, and sometimes you are even able to grab it with the fingers and pull it over the side of the rim. And I think I'm doing it right now. I think it's popping over. Also, if that doesn't work for you, I will show you what tool you should be using for that. The bike shops will always sell you the right tool. This is from my automotive. Basically what you are looking for, it's a plastic tool which doesn't have any sharp edges, because you don't want to be prying on the tire. You don't want to use the screwdriver scraping the paint from the rim or damaging it. Also, the screwdrivers have a sharp edges, so you can puncture actually the tube which is inside and make more damages for the repairs. So you can put this plastic tool very carefully underneath here, the tire, and I'm trying, for me it's a little bit unusual, because normally I will be standing when you are and looking at it, and you will start slowly, carefully prying that rim, that tire. I hope you can see it perfectly. I'm trying to look what I'm doing, and also on the monitor on the camera, and look at it. You are pulling that tire over the rim, and that was it basically. Now I pulled it off. I can go a little bit further away from you. Now I can remove the whole thing. And I can disconnect here the valve. Everything is loose. Look at it. And I have basically, I can even leave the tire on the rim. I don't have to remove it. The other part can be still hanging there because there's no reason. Except if you want to be really thorough and you don't know what damaged the tube, that tiny thorn could be still inside of the tire. So it's probably better to separate it in my case, because I couldn't find the reason why it's leaking. And this is really important to identify the object or the way which that tube got punctured and started leaking. So I couldn't see it here from outside. Obviously it's dirty, it has a thread, but what you can do, you can turn. This has a beautiful surface, super nice tires provided on this bike by Specialized. You can turn it upside down. Doesn't it look like some kind of snake skin or something? And that will help me. Hopefully I can see like a little thorn. I'm still assuming it's one of those super little thorns which came through and did this very small hole, because that tire really leaked overnight. You could pump it up and go for a ride for an hour or two and it will barely lose any pressure in it. So I will be looking visually on this, also touching it with fingers and looking for that little yellow possible thorn, because I don't think it was any glass. I couldn't find anything on that tube. So far I see nothing. Everything is absolutely perfect here. Let's go and look on the tube itself. And this will be the same story. Even if the puncture is so small that it leaks so very little, it will be not visible. Here you can see my fancy schmancy Specialized air tool, and we will be not pumping it to the 29 or 30 psi. I don't want this tube to explode, so I will just lock it in and I will give it a few pumps. You will see how it will start getting bigger and bigger. And seriously, don't put too much pressure in this. It still shows 0 psi, well, maybe 2 more. Yeah, still it's at 0. And that's it, guys. Don't put too much in it. It's not needed. And now, if it was a bigger puncture, I will be able to hear it. You will just go around and you can listen to it. Actually, my friend, I cannot hear it, but it blows enough right here. I can feel it on my skin and on the ear. Now looking at it, I actually think, guys, it's blowing in my ear. It's amazing. I will take permanent marker and I will make a round here. And basically the principle is you will put the sections which fit inside and observe if you have any bubbles. And let's do it together. Let's pretend we don't know. Also, when you look for it, don't forget it could be the valve itself. But I made a mark right here. Now let's see if I start from here. Let me turn the monitor on me so I can see what you see. So, there are no bubbles, it's just the water. But let's put underwater. Do you see it, guys? And do you hear it even? If I'm quiet? With me. So we have our spot. How can we fix that? And I didn't have any repair kit here in the shop, so I went into the bike shop and got this little repair kit. I think it was like $4. These are super cheap. And if you look on one edge of the kit, here you can see what stuff is inside. Huh? Here it is right after opening. I didn't even touch it yet. Here are the patches. Here is the sandpaper and manual. And for a purpose of repair, we have our spot. I will just make sure to let go of the pressure, the air pressure. You don't want to have that air coming continuously through that hole. So deflate the tube. And this is the step 1. They are saying carefully buff the repair area with emery paper and clean it. So I have here, right here, the corner is showing on that puncture. So I need to clean the area where the patch will be installed. The step number 2 is apply SVS Walk. That's what I say. And carefully or slightly spread it with a rubber edge. So first I need to open this tube with this tip. Now I will apply a little bit of it on it. Oh yeah, little droplet. There's not much needed. And they say to make it thin, not just such a goop, they say to make it thin, use the other part of this to spread it. Again, you don't want to spread it all over this whole thing. Sorry, I'm trying to show it to you. Just in that area where the patch will be installed. Now they say here in this instruction, let it dry for approximately 5 minutes. After those 5 minutes, I will make a choice if I want to use the biggest huge patch, which I don't need. The hole was tiny, so I will use the baby ones, the small ones. I will just take them apart. It has a clear and aluminum foil side. The instruction says remove the aluminum side, the aluminum from it this way and press it firmly on that repair. Alright, so let me put it away. I hope you can see it. And put it right center on that repair place. And make sure you squeeze it on it very firmly so it has a good bond. After that, the very last item is to actually remove this plastic, the clear plastic. They say from center out like this. I hope you can see it. I keep watching that monitor. It's always a little bit hard to keep it right in the center so you can see everything. Right, so I just pulled that plastic off and our repair of this tube is finished. The tube is ready to be installed back in that tire and back on the rim. Before installing it back, I will go again and check that tire if I don't have any sharp objects stuck in it. Now, how do I put everything back together? This is my way I deal with it. I put tiny amount of air in that repaired tube so it will keep nicely the shape for me. And it's only for that reason. Now I will grab my tire and install the tube inside. And I grab my rim. I put up here the opening for the valve. It's very simple. I will introduce the valve inside and start on both sides entering that tire. Paying attention that I don't pinch that tube anywhere. Everything needs to be nice and free. And I will start with finishing the one side of the tire. I definitely, if you have it right, you will not need any tools. That should clear this rim. Did you see that? It just popped. Now keep watching the valve so you don't get it sideways. The tire needs to be perfectly in the good position, otherwise you could rip that rubber tube from that metal valve. So make sure it's positioned good. And now I will start with the other side. And if you are doing it right, you didn't pinch anything, it needs to go smooth, easy. Everything will be seated around the rim. And I don't believe I will use any tool. Again, I will be able to pull it over that rim. Still watching that valve, that it's not being pulled sideways. It's very important. So, look at it. Is it possible? Of course it's possible. Yeah, the modern technology, modern tires and everything. It's basically really, you don't need a tool, you don't need to pry on it. And I was able to install that completely around. Again, I'm feeling that tube which is inside, because you have to make sure it's not twisted. Because when you will start inflating it, it can get pinched or there will be bubble and it can break. So just for that visual purpose, I put it here. Normally I do it on the ground, but I'm trying to film it for you and show you all the details. So now I will install this and start carefully while feeling it, adding air and that wheel. And you make sure in this moment that everything is free and nicely in all areas. That tire is getting nicely seated on that rim. So this is the time to really pay attention, and I don't need to do that on the table anymore. Everything is good. So let's put in my 29 or 30 psi. That's at least how I use my bike. Perfectly sturdy. I will twist that valve, put that protective cap, and I can go ride my bike again. That's awesome. I hope many of you will find this video helpful. If you will, please give it thumb up and stay tuned, because if I will have any maintenance or repairs on this bike, I will take time and film it for you on this Auto Resource channel. Thank you for watching and have a great day, my friend.